Hey YouTube, this is PrimetimePokemon. In this video, I'll be reviewing and giving away the Plasma Shadow theme deck. This is a Psychic and Grass type theme deck from the Plasma Storms set. The main Pokemon in the deck is Giratina. And before I get along with the review too far, in order to win this deck, you have to do a couple of things. You have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and then follow me on my blog. And there's a link to my blog in the video description below. You go there and just basically follow me on my blog there. Look on the left side of my blog and you'll see an area to follow me. And once you've done those three things, comment in the comment section of your video with your follower name from my blog. And then in a few weeks, I'll be uploading another video announcing the winner. And for complete rules to entry, definitely read the video description below. So, on with the review, the Plasma Shadow theme deck review. Once again, it's a Psychic and Grass type deck. I'll read the description on the back, and then I'll show you the deck, and then start reviewing the actual cards. So it says, shadows loom and sparks fly as the renegade Pokemon Giratina lays a hex on any Pokemon that stands against it. A devastating chain reaction becomes a terrifying reality once Amoonguss gets in on the action with its damage-boosting Miracle Powder attack, and a shocking aftermath is inescapable once Weezing unleashes its Aftermath ability. Finally, as Watchog shows its teeth and snaps around the heels of fleeing Pokemon with its second bite attack, what was once murky will become blindingly clear. You'll cast a shadow over your foes with the Plasma Shadow theme deck. And the winner of this review and giveaway will receive everything you see on the left here. You get the 60 card deck, the coin, checklist, damage counter, deck box, the player mat, and the code card. Here's a list of all of the cards in this deck. And I always recommend for beginners to the TCG that they buy a theme deck. It's usually set up fairly straightforward strategy-wise, and it also provides a person with a good amount of energy cards to build their own deck as well. And I have opened this deck already just to organize the cards in the actual deck. And this deck was actually $11.99 at Target. They're $11.98 at Walmart, $11.99 at Target. So here's the play mat, damage counters, burn marker and poison marker. Here's a checklist. Here's the deck box with the 60 cards, and all decks have to have 60 cards. Then there's a Team Plasma coin, cool looking coin. And then there's a code card down here, looks like so. I'll just leave that in there for now, and then I'll show all the cards. And what I recommend doing with almost any theme deck is just playing with it a little while, and you should know by using this deck a couple of times where its weaknesses lie, and then you can one by one replace those weaker cards with some stronger Pokemon cards that you have pulled on their own, either buying individually or in booster packs. So I guess I'll show the art of the theme deck box. So I'm going to go through each card in the set. So, this deck has Grass and Psychic type Pokemon, as well as a few colorless type Pokemon. And usually in the decks on the back of the box they organize Pokemon by type, but the Plasma Storm decks, for some reason, the cards in the deck are organized very strangely. So I'll be going back and forth between different types of Pokemon. So, this deck first starts off with the main Pokemon in the deck, two Giratinas. And the first one's just a non-holo version, and then this second one's the one that is on the cover of the deck, on display basically. It's a holographic with the shapes in the holographic pattern. I don't know if you can see that as much. Maybe over by my left thumb you can see it a little bit. Because normally this card is not holographic, because it's the main card in the deck. It is a special card. So, there are two Giratina, Psychic type Pokemon, 130 HP. It has two moves. Both a little slower moves, so you definitely want to set up this Pokemon on your bench. Hex takes 3 energy cards and does 50 damage, plus if the defending Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 50 more. So you'll want to put some Pokemon in play and in the active Pokemon spot first that inflict special conditions, then move Giratina into the active Pokemon spot and be able to do 100 damage per turn with Hex. Giratina's second move is Shadow Claw, does 90 damage for 4 energy cards, and it also discards a random card from your opponent's hand. So you can use Shadow Claw every turn as long as you have 4 energy cards on Giratina. So I would definitely keep this card on the bench, get 4 energy cards on it, use Pokemon first that can inflict special conditions, move Giratina in the active Pokemon spot, use Hex on that Pokemon that is inflicted with a special condition until it's knocked out, then after that use Shadow Claw. You probably don't want to retreat Giratina for a Pokemon that can inflict special conditions because you'll have to give up 3 energy cards to retreat it. So that's the most powerful card in the deck is Giratina. There's 2 of those. Next up is a 2-1 line of Trubbish and Garbodor, Psychic type Pokemon. Trubbish has 60 HP, so average HP, and has 2 moves. Pound, which is a good quick move, and then Sludge Bomb, which does 40 damage for 3 energy cards. For a basic Pokemon like this, 40 damage is quite a bit, but it does require a lot of energy cards. So unless you just get Trubbish out there to start the game, I wouldn't put 3 energy cards on it on the bench and plan on moving it in. I would definitely try to evolve it before I put the 3 energy cards on it. So there's 2 Trubbish and 1 Garbodor, and it is a Team Plasma card. That's how it has the blue borders. 110 HP, so above average HP, 2 moves. And Snarl, which does 20 damage times the number of colorless energy cards in the defending Pokemon's retreat cost, and then Double Ducks, which does 80 damage times the number of heads you get when you flip 2 coins. So Snarl is definitely a move I like. Double Ducks could be pretty powerful, but it depends on a lot of luck. I would actually stick with Snarl. That way Trubbish and Garbodor would both be pretty quick and not require much energy. I'd just use Pound with Trubbish, then end Snarl with Garbodor. And I would look for a good time to move Garbodor into the active Pokemon spot. If you have it on the bench, I would move it in against something like a Giratina. Then Snarl could do 60 damage per turn because Giratina has 3 colorless type energy cards for its retreat cost. Next up, there's a Coughing Wheezing line, 2-1 as well. Above average HP for Coughing, 2 moves, Tackle, which is a decent move, and then Double Spin, basically the same as Double Ducks from Garbodor, just does less damage. Does 20 damage times the number of heads you get. So depending on how Wheezing looks, you may just want to stick with Tackle if you get Coughing in the active Pokemon spot. Wheezing, just like Garbodor, is a Team Plasma card. 100 HP, so above average HP, and actually has an ability. It's called Aftermath, and it says when this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. And then Smog Bank does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Well, actually, to each of your opponent's Pokemon, so including the active Pokemon. So Coughing would definitely be an excellent Pokemon to start the game with, and you can evolve Coughing very quickly into Wheezing, and then use Smog Bank 2, 3, 4 times in a row. And then, even if Wheezing does get knocked out, you can invoke its ability, and then have your opponent discard 3 of their cards from the deck. That way it can hurt your opponent even more. But definitely, I'll have to see what the rest of the cards look like in this deck, but Wheezing could definitely be used in a spread damage type deck, where it does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, and then you put another card out there that does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, or one that does a move like 60 damage to any one of your opponent's Pokemon. Then you can specifically target weaker Pokemon that already have damage on it from Aftermath. Next is a Zubat Golbat line. There's 3 Zubat in this deck and 2 Golbat. So a little lower HP for Zubat. And Spiral Drain is a good move. Does 10 damage for 1 energy card, plus it heals 10 damage from this Pokemon. So at the beginning of the game, more than likely, the defending Pokemon won't be able to do 50 damage per turn. So Zubat really will seem like it has a little higher HP than 50. So an okay Pokemon here. So 3 of those. And then 2 Golbat. 80 HP, so lower HP than normal again. And just has one move called Spiral Drain, which does 20 damage for 2 energy cards and removes 10 damage from Golbat when it uses this move. So this is another, possibly a decent Pokemon to allow you to set up your bench Pokemon while this Pokemon line is in the active Pokemon spot, because each of Zubat's and Golbat's moves heals some damage from their respective card. You may be able to get away with not having to attach more energy to Golbat or Zubat, and then set up energy or set up Pokemon on your bench. That way you can move in more powerful Pokemon card after using Golbat and Zubat. So 2 of those. Now we're going to move into some grass type Pokemon. There's a 2-2 line of Foongus and Amoonguss, and in the description of this deck it talked about Amoonguss gets into action with its damage boosting Miracle Powder attack. So we'll look at that when we get to Amoonguss. Foongus has extremely low HP with only 40. Just has one move. It's called Astonish, and it says to flip a coin. If heads, choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals that card and shuffles it into its deck. So Foongus cannot really do an attack damage-wise. It can make your opponent discard or put a card back into their deck, but it really can't do much for damage. So if possible, keep this card on your bench until it evolves into a Amoonguss, which is a Team Plasma card, 90 HP, so average HP, has Astonish, which is similar to what Foongus's move is. It's called the same, it just does a little something different. It says to flip a coin. If heads, choose 3 random cards from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals those cards and shuffles them into his or her deck. So it's much more powerful than Foongus's Astonish move. And then Miracle Powder does 30 damage, and it says flip a coins. If heads, choose 1 special condition. The defending Pokemon is now affected by that special condition. So you may want to put Amoonguss into the active Pokemon spot, hope for a heads when you use Miracle Powder, and then either once Amoonguss is knocked out or you retreat it, put Giratina into the active Pokemon spot, and then use its powerful move, which is Hex, and it can do 100 damage per turn to that Pokemon that is inflicted by a special condition. So 2 of those. So like I said, we're switching back and forth between Pokemon types. Now we're on to a 2-2 line of Ralts and Kirlia. No Gardevoir in the deck. So Ralts is a basic Pokemon, has 60 HP and just has one move. It says to flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. So this is another option as well. Well, actually it's not paralyzed, only lasts one move, so this is an okay card. We'll have to see what Kirlia looks like. If Kirlia isn't that great, I wouldn't suggest having Ralts in this deck. Or Kirlia for that matter. So Kirlia has only 80 HP, and its only move is called Psybolt, which does above average damage for only 1 energy card. Plus it paralyzes the defending Pokemon if you get a heads when you flip a coin. So both Ralts and Kirlia can paralyze the defending Pokemon. So Ralts, Kirlia, Zubat, and Golbat all allow you at the beginning of the game probably to set up your bench while Kirlia, Zubat, Golbat, or Ralts are stalling in the active Pokemon spot. Back to a grass type Pokemon now. There are 3 Turtwig in this deck, and then 2 Growl. So Turtwig has one move called Nap, heals 20 damage from this Pokemon, so another basic Pokemon that can probably stay in the active Pokemon spot for a little while without getting knocked out. And then Razor Leaf does 30 damage for 3 energy cards. So like Trubbish from earlier, this is another basic Pokemon card with evolutions that requires 3 energy cards to attack. So not a great move. I would never really use Razor Leaf unless Turtwig was put in the active Pokemon spot and I could not either retreat it or evolve it. So 3 of those. And then Growl is next. No Torterra in this deck. You may want to include one. So Growl above average HP with 100 and has only one move called Knock Away, which does 40 damage plus 20 more damage if you get ahead. So I would probably take out Turtwig and Growl from this deck unless you wanted to include Torterra in the deck and have Torterra be extremely powerful. Otherwise, I would remove Turtwig and Growl. Next up is Djem. There are 2 Djem in this deck, 60 HP, and just one move called Psy Shot, which does 30 damage. So this is a good card to have in a deck. Basic Pokemon, you don't have to evolve it, and it can do above average HP for a fairly low amount of energy. Does require all Psychic energy cards though, so make sure that you include a fair amount of Psychic energy cards in your deck so you can use this card. And in this theme deck, there are twice as many Psychic energy cards as there are Grass energy cards. Next is a 2-1 line of Patrat and Watchog. This is the last Pokemon in the deck, Pokemon line, both colorless type. 50 HP for Patrat. Collect is its first move and allows you to draw a card, and then Slam is its second move, and this move does 20 damage times the number of heads you get when you flip 2 coins. So there are quite a few Pokemon in this deck that require you to flip coins, so if you're not very lucky on a certain day, a lot of these Pokemon cards won't be very effective. So after using this deck a little bit, I'd probably go in and remove some of those Pokemon that rely on luck to do more damage. There's just too many in this deck for my liking. And then Watchog is Patrat Stage 1 Evolution, 90 HP, has 2 moves. Low Kick is its second move, and it's an average move. It does 60 damage for 3 energy cards. And then Second Bite is its first move. It does 20 damage for 2 energy cards, plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on the defending Pokemon. Depending on what active Pokemon you have in play, it wouldn't be a bad idea if the defending Pokemon is almost knocked out. You can definitely put in Watchog and use Second Bite and definitely knock it out in one move. And then you could possibly retreat Watchog the next turn for only 1 colorless energy card, or you could have Wheezing in the active Pokemon spot, use Smog Bank, spread the damage around so every one of your opponent's Pokemon has 20, 40, 60 damage on it, put in Watchog, and every time you use Second Bite, it will be able to do much more than 20 damage. It could do 40 or 60 damage for only 2 energy cards. So I definitely like the Wheezing Watchog combination in this deck. Now we're going to move on to the trainers and supporters in this deck. First up is Energy Search. There's 2 of those in the deck. And Energy Search allows you to search your deck for a basic Pokemon card and put it into your hand. 2 of those. So these are useful if you have a lot of Pokemon in your deck that require a lot of energy cards to attack. These cards allow you to find those energy cards very quickly. Next is 2 Colress Trainers, and it says to shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw a number of cards equal to the number of bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. So either real early in the game, the benches might be full, or towards the end of the game, this would be a good card to use. You'd definitely be able to get a lot of cards back into your hand. Escape Rope is next. There are 2 Escape Ropes. It says that each player switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her bench Pokemon. So if you have Giratina in the active Pokemon spot, or a Pokemon that has a 2 colorless energy card retreat cost like a Moongus, Escape Rope would work very well. so it's a very good trainer to have in the deck. 2 Pokemon Communication Trainers. These have been pretty standard in decks lately. It allows you to reveal a Pokemon in your hand, put it on top of your deck, and find a different Pokemon from your deck and put it back into your hand. So it's like going to a PC in the games and switching out one of your active Pokemon with one that's in the PC. Team Plasma Grunt, there are 2 of these. It's a supporter card, so you only can use supporter cards once per turn, and it says to discard a Team Plasma card from your hand and then draw 4 cards. So not a bad move, just not a bad trainer card. Just make sure that you do have Team Plasma cards in your deck. There are probably about 8 or so Team Plasma cards in this deck. Pokemon that is. So Hypnotic Laser, there's only 1 of these, and this is the last trainer card in the deck. It says your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Flip a coin if had your opponent's active Pokemon is also asleep. So, if you want to use Hex on Giratina and do 100 damage per turn, you may want to add more than 1 of these in your deck. And then to end the deck review here, there are 12 Psychic Energy cards in this deck, and then 6 Grass type Energy cards. Overall, I think this is a pretty decent theme deck. I made some changes, or recommended some changes that you make throughout this review. I definitely consider pulling out Ralts and Kirlia unless you want to add a Gardevoir. Same with the Turtwig Growl line. If you don't want to add Torterra in the deck, I would consider moving those cards out as well, possibly adding another Weezing, another Giratina, that type of thing. So, once again, definitely read the video description for the rules to entry. Good luck to everyone. I'll also be doing another Plasma Storm theme deck giveaway on March 1st, so watch for that one. Definitely check out all my videos and playlists to find everything that you've always wanted to see. I have a lot of informative videos out there, as well as booster pack openings. So thanks a lot for watching. Check out all the links in the video description below, my Facebook blog and Twitter links, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.